XRP bounces back with strength. We've been describing this rally already as a relief rally, talking about XRP moving higher. And I've been saying that we've probably seen the worst of this tariff and trade war. Although the deals might take some time to get structured, our markets are being desensitized, and there's already plenty of liquidity on the sidelines that's ready to come into this asset class. Now, in particular with XRP, we're going to talk about the futures contracts going live on Coinbase, set to go live at the CME, the largest derivatives platform in the world, with additional on-ramps in Japan as well. More liquidity is coming into XRP. That's the conclusion that we can make from all of these different on-ramps being built out, with all of these ETFs getting ready to go live. The uptrend here on XRP has just begun, and I think that we're going to see XRP moving up to an all-time high in the next 30 to 60 days is where I'm at in these markets. Now, we're going to play a clip here from President Trump. What we are seeing right now is the mainstream media and the talking head pundits keep on reporting false narratives, false stories about members of President Trump's cabinet with the tariffs and basically the trade war, where you're seeing them. They're like a kid, trying to beg their way out of timeout instead of, doing the full time for their crime. They're like little kids throwing a little tantrum, and they want the tariff war to be over. They want Mr. Trump to be nice, and they don't want him to play hardball. But it has to be this way. President Trump had to bring everybody to the table, and we're going to play clips and disprove some of the lies that they've been spreading about Trump wanting to tax the rich. Absolutely not the case. We are going to make America the crypto capital of the world, and you're about to see a bunch of liquidity and investment flowing into the United States. We already have over 6 trillion plus of investments committed to America already. And I'm going to give you the update on our tariff revenue, which just went to an all-time high as well. So starting off here, Kobesi letter, President Trump says he met with China this morning. The NASDAQ 100 rises to a new high of the day, now up 2%. So we'd started to see the market moving up early this morning. We were trying to anticipate what might be coming out. And sure enough, President Trump says that he has met with China. Progress is being made. Now, China denies that any direct talks are taking place. They're still playing hardball. We'll see how that plays out. Speaking of the media spinning up narratives, we have Charlie Gasparino. He says people inside the Trump White House are alerting Wall Street execs they are nearing an agreement in principle on trade with India. According to my sources who are senior Wall Street execs with ties to the White House, no details on timing, and recall that we have been here before with Japan only to have the goalposts changed and terms renegotiated. And part of the problem, like I said, is the media trying to front run this. The media trying to control stories. And think about this too. Companies, and I'm not saying that they are doing this, but they could do it, right? Insiders on Wall Street could basically be paying for narratives to come on out to boost the stock price. Think of how easy and fragile our market is, right? One bad tweet from President Trump, he coughs, market goes down. But then if we get one news article ran about, how Apple is going to be exempt, then the Apple stock pumps up, right? So all it takes is one little piece of news and we can manipulate these prices. This whole thing's exposing how rigged our stock market is. That's my big takeaway from all of this. How fragile and weak and overvalued the stock market is, and how emotional the retail investors are, and how programmed the bots are. President Trump says this, the algorithms are triggered to do one thing. President Trump says another thing, the bots do the opposite, right? Everybody's operating on the same algorithms and bots instead of, like our community, making fundamental investments, and then we let the narratives catch up to the fundamental investments that we've made. We get to sit back and watch this show unfold, just like in the XRP greenhouse shirt that I'm wearing right here. All this chaos around us, the enemy trying to infiltrate us and get into our greenhouse. But good thing we got our knight in the shining armor, defending the greenhouse and keeping out the enemy, while we tend to the garden, minding our own business. That's what we've been doing with our fundamental investments. And we let these talking head pundits play around, and we understand that this is a process that President Trump had to take us through. But if we do get these deals, and they are right around the corner, whether it be, this week or, over the next few months, they are going to get signed. And the main takeaway is that the market's desensitized now to all the tariff and trade talk. So unless we get, things getting elevated to another level We've seen the worst of it, and our market's about to recover. Now, I want to play this clip here because this is from a press conference. President Trump was asked yesterday about the tax on the millionaires. Mr. Trump, are we going to tax the millionaires? Is this something you would support? And the media's already been running with this, right? And really, this comes from some rhino sellout Republicans who maybe were considering it, and that's a fatal mistake for them to do so. It's not going to happen, and President Trump does not support it. But let's listen to the president himself clear up on this confusion.
I think it would be very disruptive because a lot of the millionaires would leave the country. You know, in the old days, they left states. They go from one state to the other. Now with transportation so quick and so easy, they leave countries. You'll lose a lot of money if you do that. That would, and other countries that have done it have lost a lot of people. They lose their wealthy people. That would be bad because the wealthy people pay the tax. Okay?
Yeah, so just very clear, ain't going to happen. Not something that he supports. And so this is a prime example of all these narratives that the mainstream media has been drumming up in their own self-interest, what they want to see happen, or at least the interests that pay for all the ad spots on their show, right? We know that the talking head pundits have to shill what they got to shill. And they've been trying to shill us these narratives and lies. It's just not the case. So if you are in that millionaire class, no reason to worry. And as many of you guys know, the rich, the taxes that they do pay are already very substantial. And one of the things that we're set here to replace the income tax with is the tariffs. Now, what we're seeing right now is that the U.S. tariff revenue rises 60% to $15 billion in April, already at a new all-time high. And this process is just underway. This is just getting started. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, you dummies don't realize that the consumer pays the tariff. No, the consumer pays the price hike that would be passed on by the corporation or the importer, right, that brings in the product, and they pay the tariffs. And whether or not they decide to raise the prices, that's where the consumer would pay that price. But people don't understand how tariffs work, and so they think, oh, wow, we're going to get a 150% tariff on my finished Nike shoe. Not the case. The Nike shoe is imported by Nike at, $10, for example. And so you're going to get a 100% tariff on that. How much Nike decides to raise on you, the retailer, that's up to them. So tariffs, yes, they do trickle down to the consumer eventually, but it's much less dramatic than what the mainstream media wants you to believe. Now, another narrative here that I wanted to clear up for everybody because there's some confusion right now on Capitol Hill with Coinbase actually lobbying Congress to not pass the stablecoin bill. And really what this comes down to, I got this article right here from Decrypt where they break this down, why America's biggest crypto company is trying to stop a pro-crypto bill from passing. This comes back to Coinbase thinking that we don't have enough basically political capital, right? We don't have enough leverage with these politicians to get 2 crypto bills passed this year. So what Coinbase is trying to lobby right now is to combine both those bills, the stablecoin and the market structure bill together, and to get them passed in one, which sounds nice. What I'm worried about is them slipping in, like with the stablecoins, for example. They're trying to stop us from being able to earn the yield or the interest on our stablecoin. This is just completely messed up, right? And why are they doing this? It's because the bank lobby is lobbying the politicians to include this type of text in the bill so that it protects the banks. Because what are the banks worried about? They're worried about you storing your money in a stable coin that's going to pay you 3, 4, 5% versus keeping it in the bank, which is paying you nothing, right? Which this is the whole business model with the banks being disrupted, not just with the stable coins, but also with the cross-border payments like we've well understood with XRP, right? The friction points that they've created in our financial system is where they make their money. So they don't want us to be using XRP. They don't want us to be putting our money into a stable coin versus keeping it in their bank deposit, right? So we're going to have to continue to watch this one as it progresses. What I worry about is that if we do merge these together, or even if they are standalone bills, we got to defend our right, and basically the issuer's right, to issue a stable coin how they see fit. If we want to have standard rules like, yes, it needs to be backed by US dollar cash equivalents, that all makes sense. And that's really all standard. But this idea of stopping the consumer or the holder of the stablecoin from being able to earn interest, that's ridiculous. That's anti-American, that's anti-free market, and that's directly from the banksters that have had their grip over our monetary, fiscal, and our financial system for over 100 years. Now, see, this is where the bullish catalyst specific to XRP just continued to add up. We got another one here today. Starting May 19th, trade-regulated capital-efficient futures on XRP will be going live. Available in larger and micro-sized contracts so you can scale your exposure with greater precision and flexibility. The CME Group is the largest derivatives platform in the world. And remember, the SEC, before they approve these spot ETFs, they want to see healthy futures markets for the asset. So if you recall, the futures for Bitcoin went live on the CME before the spot ETFs went live. So similar, and now that this is being fast-tracked for May 19th, I believe that you're going to see those spot XRP ETFs right around the corner. So where we were looking at second half of 2025 for XRP ETFs going live, that timeline might be collapsing right now with futures going live on May 19th on the CME. We also have additional Coinbase just went live with their futures product for XRP as well. And I'm going to explain that here next. But this is the precursor to those spot ETFs going live. And remember, JP Morgan's predicting 4 to 8 billion of inflows into the XRP ETFs year one. I've shown you and ran you through the math on what that would do for our multiplier to XRP's price. 4 to 8 billion of inflows into XRP is probably going to equate to XRP's market cap growing by hundreds of billions of dollars. Yes, we're talking about a new all-time high for XRP right around the corner. Maybe even before the ETFs get here. In fact, I think we're going to see it before the ETFs get here. Now, this is the Coinbase product right here. I'm going to show you guys this one. And basically, this is, I just wanted to kind of run folks through how this one worked. Because it's not like perpetual futures where it's just like a rolling contract where, there's no expiration date. The way that this futures contract on Coinbase works is it has an expiration date. The expiration date is for tomorrow on the XRP contract. It's April 25th. But you can roll it over as well. But the retail contract, the smaller contract for this one, is representative of 500 XRP. So if you want to get exposure to this and buy one of the contracts, you're buying $500 or 500 units worth of XRP, which right now would be over $1,000. And they're allowing you to use a little bit of leverage on that as well too. So this is something that I'm going to be taking a look at, but I wanted to give you guys the quick rundown. So you open a position, you can either go long or short. Right? You can hold the position as long as you want, but the contract does expire, right? So if it does expire, you can roll it over, okay? If you want to continue holding a position after the expiration date, you can roll the contract by simultaneously closing the current contract and opening a new one with a later expiration date. And these are cash settled. So these are actually not backed by physical XRP. These are cash settled. U.S. regulated futures have defined start and end dates. At expiration, the contract is settled via cash at the agreed upon price. Now, does this necessarily equate to, our XRP supply shock story narrative? Not directly, but what this is allowing is for more exposure to XRP, and they want this. Once again, the SEC wants to see a healthy futures market before they go live with the spot. That's what's coming. And for many institutional investors or sophisticated traders, what they will do, like someone like myself that has just a long, big bag of XRP, I might want to short XRP to hedge my ridiculously long bet with a little short, so I'm covered on the downside. When we do get a little bit of a pullback, we're still making money. And if XRP does take off and I, get wrecked on my short, it's marginal, it's nothing compared to the gain that we'll make on that large XRP bag. So for sophisticated investors, these are the types of products that they're going to want exposure to. The retail version gives you basically exposure to 500 units. The institutional or bigger traders can get access to contracts with 10,000 units behind it. Okay, So that's what's live on Coinbase now. CME growing live with the futures May 19th. This is all the precursor to the ETFs and more liquidity, more exposure towards XRP. Now, let's take a look here. This is also a big one from Emi Yoshikawa, who used to be the VP of Strategic Initiatives at Ripple. She shares that Mercari, which is Japan's go-to marketplace and its largest resale marketplace, now supports XRP for a few reasons. A few reasons why this is so notable. Mercari is Japan's largest resale platform where millions of users keep a balance from selling unused items. Users can now convert that balance or Mercari points into XRP for just 1 yen. About 90% of users buying crypto via Mercari are first-timers, a powerful example of crypto reaching mainstream audiences beyond the usual crowd. So this is like a Craigslist or a Facebook marketplace for Japan. It's their biggest resale platform, and now they've integrated with XRP. More integrations, more access, more on-ramps, it all equals more liquidity and inflows into XRP. Another integration for you, Bitfrost Wallet. Big wallet in regards to Flare, and now they are expanding for XRP support with no added fees. They are going to be supporting F assets like FXRP. They are also integrating with XRP, XP Market, Magnetic, and XRP Cafe. Native XRP Ledger token tools, plus setting trust lines directly inside the Bitfrost wallet, all live. Once again, more integrations, more access, more on-ramps. Now we let the suits sell it for us, and we've been talking about that in Wall Street, but we also have XRP gaining traction in what I would call the broader culture, And I'm going to play this clip here of Dave Portnoy getting interviewed by CoinDesk talking about his bag of XRP, and what I want you guys to pick up on is what Dave is holding right now, because this is the case for a lot of new people coming into crypto. He's got a bag of Bitcoin, he's got a bag of XRP, and then he's playing around with the memes. And this is a lot of people. A lot of folks are actually skipping over Bitcoin, and they're holding XRP for a store of value and for price appreciation, and then they go play with the meme coins, right? But listen in here, Dave Portnoy talking about his position with XRP.
I'm sure it's going to be a lot about my journey in Bitcoin crypto, which has been well documented, up and downs. I have like a love-hate relationship with Bitcoin, I would say, because I've just been on the wrong side of every time it rips. I do own a lot of it. I own a lot of XRP, so I'll talk a little bit of XRP. And the meme coins. The meme coins has been something that I'm relatively new with, and I found myself like entrenched in probably not on purpose, like the biggest scandal there was with the Argentina coin, like somehow I was in the middle of that. So all these things I'm sure I'll discuss. And, I do, as much as I have a back and forth with the crypto community, I actually love them. I think they're hilarious, very funny, very creative. But it is an interesting group, which I guess I'm part of.
What is it about XRP that made you want to get involved?
Well, I know Brad Gnarlinghouse, so I'm familiar with it. A lot of people are talking about it. I bought it before the lawsuit went away, which I thought it was going to. So I thought it had a chance to continue to go up. I still do. It's what I think as of us doing this around 212. So, I'm trying to get not just Bitcoin, try to get as many different IO, some ETH. I don't pretend to know it all, but I want to own as much of it as I can.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing. I don't care if you like Dave or don't like Dave. The fact is, millions of people are following him. And so, like I said, in the culture, you're starting to get more exposure to XRP. And now it's cool to own XRP, where it used to be shunned. It used to be only Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe you could play around with the memes. Literally investing in meme coins was more respected than holding XRP. Holding XRP was looked down upon. That's no longer the case. It's not just Dave. That's just one example. But as I titled this episode, XRP bounces back with strength. We have all this catalyst: attention, on-ramps, liquidity, integrations, ETFs, futures. It's all access, exposure, and liquidity coming in to XRP, which is why it's holding up so well with strength. Here's the Bitcoin chart, and we showed you the level was 92,000. This morning, we dipped down to 91,700, bounced back up above 93, and right now, Bitcoin's trading at about 93,000 as I record this update. For XRP, same thing. It did pull back to about 211, 212 this morning, and it already bounced back up above 223. So XRP bouncing back with strength on top of all of these other catalysts that we have building up here. XRP is not going anywhere. This bull run is just getting started with the next phase. This next phase takes us to an all-time high, which is going to be life-changing in and of itself for many people, but we still expect XRP, our targets, like I've been saying, 20 to 30 bucks for XRP towards the end of this year and the next year. That's where I'm at with XRP over the next, 12 months or so. Short term, XRP is on its way, ascending to a new all-time high here shortly. So make sure you guys lock in with us. We have new merch like the XRP Greenhouse, the dog tags, and the XRP Poker Table Collection now available on our shop. That's at ZachRector.com. And if you want to get access to our private community, you join us through Patreon to get access to Discord. We just revamped our Discord, and we got some exciting initiatives taking place over there in the private community. So come try it out. We would love to have you. And on the way out, if you guys could do me a big favor and like this video, help me out by sharing it out far and wide. I would greatly appreciate you. God bless you all. Have a great day. And we'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for our regular live shows every Tuesday, Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. See you there. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.